but everybody on 4chan, at least that browses G, they all run freaking like Adblock, GreaseMonkey, NoScript. I mean, it's like they're running all like. Do you think these people are running the Alexa toolbar that's reporting to Alexa what websites that it's like seriously? I mean, again, like 4chan. I mean, Google Analytics isn't even that fully accurate for us because again, it probably doesn't count a lot of our traffic because a huge percentage of our community blocks ads. Which again, in turn, blocks the Google Analytics tracking tag. Again, much less use these toolbars that report out your traffic. So again, Alexa is like not in fact, you saw it, spike and drop off with the fappening because again, the fappening brought to 4chan a whole demographic of the type of person that does use Alexa toolbar or again, the various things that feed into their numbers because these are not basically a mainstream audience came to 4chan, which is not savvy or not nearly as savvy and not privacy conscious and whatnot. And so you saw this huge spike in 4chan's traffic as a result. I mean, both the traffic that's been reported to us by Google Analytics, but 4chan actually has more traffic following that has maintained post September. I mean, again, the site's as large as it's ever been, despite the fact that some of those graphs say so. So no, I mean, actually none of this has affected 4chan's traffic, but again, like maybe going forward, I mean, I think that, the fact that other image boards exist, that's a good thing. And should 4chan be ruined by my successors or die or something like that, again, that's it's probably better that the kind of the image board market, so to speak, is a fragmented one, and so there's kind of not one. I mean, the fact is, 4chan is more or less controlled most of, if not, I mean, the vast majority of kind of English-speaking image board traffic, and maybe in the future that won't be the case, and maybe it shouldn't be the case for kind of the health of the greater kind of image board browsing community. So let's see. This is a good question. Number 709. Anyway, how do you feel about the development of 4chan in the past 6 years, especially in relation to many boards being archived and sites like Reddit, which combine the traditional forum aspect and quote unquote anonymity? Do you think archives are bad for 4chan going forward? So this is an interesting question, I think, regarding archives, especially given some of the changes we've made in the past few weeks and months. But so historically, I've really hated archives because I mean they aren't really in keeping with I think the spirit of 4chan. The beauty of early 4chan. I mean, again, this is kind of a two-part response because and this is when I say 4chan, this is like the creative 4chan, B's kind of heyday as a progenitor of internet culture and meme factory and whatnot. But the beauty in 4chan and kind of the reason that 4chan was able to become that thing is because of two reasons. One is the ephemerality of the content, and then one was the anonymity. And so the anonymity kind of allowing people to say and do things they wouldn't have otherwise done, and to be very creative, and the ephemerality kind of washing away the shit posts and allowing kind of that creativity to bubble up. And so I've always felt that archives were kind of an impediment, or again, like kind of not really in keeping with the spirit of the site. And again, in the spirit meaning that spirit of kind of creativity and kind of the legacy of kind of old 4chan, whatever we call that. But I think obviously the spirit of 4chan has kind of changed over time. It's changed a lot. I mean, the thing that I think for a long time, what people got out of 4chan was again this kind of zany kind of fun place to hang out and to be creative and whatnot. And now it really is just, I mean, pretty strictly, I think, a kind of an interest-based, kind of a interest-based community that incorporates anonymity. And so for a lot of people, and again, they don't really use 4chan's to make things or to to post things that disappear. And so I don't really like indefinite archiving, but I mean that's basically the reason that we introduced limited kind of retention. So basically a 7-day archive on all of the boards except for B, because I kind of came to appreciate that, for most people, the kind of experience of, threads 404 every 5 minutes was actually sucked. And it was like a pretty inferior kind of experience to them. And that's part of the reason, archives exist and also kind of saw a rise in popularity is, people would go to work and they would come back and their threads would be dead, or they wanted to, check, refer back to a previous thread or see what somebody else had posted or something like that. Or, it wasn't ideal on basically a discussion-based board or even one of the pornographic boards to basically have the threads expiring all the time. And really, I think the ephemerality lent itself mostly to kind of the creativity of kind of old B, and maybe actually maybe we should disable it on S4S too, or R9K when R9K was actually original content. But so again, my kind of relationship with archive, I mean, I really don't like permanent archives, because I think that's a pretty dramatic change to this kind of again the old spirit of the site being that it has no memory, and it's kind of this waterfall of content, and the only things that are remembered are things that become memes, the things that are kind of reposted, that resonate with an audience and are reposted over and over again, and kind of endure. That kind of test of time, or that waterfall are able to kind of like swim upstream, kind of like a salmon, I guess. But again, we just got to a point where I was like, I guess we can have kind of a limited retention, because again, now that 4chan for at least with the worksafe boards for the blue boards, I mean, really, I would just say every board outside of B is really just kind of like I mean, the worksafe boards are basically like like discussion kind of shared interest discussion boards, and the porn boards are really just just content, and there's not much discussion there, but. So I felt like, we may as well just give people kind of take the pain out of, having to, go to another archive or get redirected to an archive when they want to kind of catch up on something. So, I don't expect that, 4chan will ever have a real proper archive. And we don't even really allow searching of our archive threads. I mean, now we have an index that you can go to, and you can kind of control F on that page. But and you could use Google to search them. But I think it's it's not only just archiving too, but it's actually search. It's like 4chan has never essentially had search outside of just OPs on the catalog, and so and that's something else. It's like it's not just the fact that those the archives, the third-party archives archive, but they have very, very powerful search. And again, that's kind of against the old spirit of 4chan. But again, I kind of came to accept that the new generation of users seem to be pretty much okay with that, and there was actually some utility in keeping threads around a little bit longer. Number 712, when this place eventually becomes the new Reddit and you realize that you made a mistake by leaving, are you going to come back and fix it, or just make a new asterisk chan? No, again, I think this is it for me. This is goodbye. Again, I hope that 4chan or sites like it continue to exist for a very long time. And again, I browse the site often. I've really actually started browsing the site even more often since we invested in the mobile site as much as we have. I mean, the mobile site's actually great. I mean, if you haven't used 4chan on mobile, I mean, about 25% of all of our traffic comes from mobile now. So I would highly suggest using the mobile site if you have a smartphone. I think it's actually a great addition to the site. And so I again use the site a lot more these days. But no, I mean, if it goes downhill, I mean, that'll be disappointing, because then I won't have a site that I like to browse when I'm on the go, or waiting for the bus or whatever. But again, I think I've already fought my battle for the last 11 and a half years, and again, I'm very proud of what the volunteers in the community have built, and for me, it kind of represents the end of a long journey, and beginning of new journeys that very likely do not include starting other image boards. Although again, community is something that really fascinates me, and I expect that whatever I work on will probably have something to do with communities or images, because I really like images too. Are you axing boards? I was actually considering consolidating a few boards and removing a few kind of redundant ones, but I've spared you all rocking the boat. I mean, this is what I mean, like, sorry /3 and /GD, but like very rarely anybody uses either of those boards, and they could really stand to be combined. So, but we're not doing that, or I'm not doing it at least. And so, only time will tell. Number 742, will you be able to post with the cap code, keep moderation powers? Again, in the interim future, I will. Long term, probably not. I do have a cap code. It's ## admin emeritus that I haven't used yet. I guess I'll start using it after this Q&A. But again, you probably won't see me around that much anymore, which again